The war in Iraq may have been one of the most controversial wars in American history. At a Veterans of Foreign Wars Lodge, we sat down with 5 Iraq combat veterans asking some of the toughest questions. Is the war really over for them, and was it all worth it? Kayla, you've been out of Iraq a number of years. Is it really over for you?
There are fundamental ways in which I am changed as a result of my service. I now identify as a veteran, and that is a key part of my identity. And there are ways in which having been to Iraq, I feel separates me from civilians, separates me from those who have never served. And that's a barrier that I still haven't been able to overcome.
No, it's not over. Once you come back, we can't just leave the game on the court. We're struggling with things like epidemic levels of unemployment and suicide rates. And because of that, I mean, we have very real casualties here at home, just as we did in Iraq.
Your thoughts?
Yes, well, I agree a lot with what Ian said. I think that it's just beginning for many of the veterans now that they are returning home. The war may be coming to an end, but it's a whole new world that they're going to be coming home to now.
Louise, do you feel the same way? Do you feel the war is still and always will be part of who you are?
The war is very much ongoing, and it's ongoing for the Iraqi people who are not really being spoken about. Iraq still has the largest refugee crisis in the world.
But what about for you?
It's so not over that, we, I think, as advocates and as veterans in the community, receive correspondence and dialogue from veterans all over the country. And they're all, so many of them, not just of these wars, but they're asking for help. They're in dire straits right now. So I don't see how anyone in good conscience, be they a general, be they a VA official or politician, can say that the war is over.
Is the war over for you?
I think that if we don't carry the burden of the war, then we're doing a disservice to those that stayed over there, that gave all. Because we all gave a little bit, but for those that did not return, that weren't able, like myself, to go to school and, live a little bit, better of a life, to forget about that and say it's all over, that just close the book, and that was yesterday and today is today. Not only is it not an option, but it's not something I'm interested in seeing end.
Do you worry, whether it's 5 years from now or 10 years from now or next year, do you worry that Americans are going to forget?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, one thing I know I wonder is what the cultural memory of this war is going to be. I think it's going to be remembered as the mistake war, the war that was a mistake. I feel that that's the shape this war is taking in our society. That
Well, it was a mistake.
It was a mistake. Well, that's something that I can't answer. I know what I did over there, and I'm proud of my soldiers and what we're able to accomplish. And as I said, that works in contrast a lot to the public perception of this war, and it's disheartening in a way to endure this position, to know that my greatest achievements in life were nothing more than a mistake.
What you're defining is PTSD. You're defining betrayal. And that is the struggle that veterans of foreign wars have faced since time immemorial, is whether my contributions were really in the best interests of me, my soldiers, my country, etc.
There's no question this war has been a great subject of political and intellectual conflict in this country. So the thing that a lot of Americans might wonder is, how do you rationalize as a veteran in your own mind, was it worth it?
I frankly did not support the war in Iraq when I deployed. I thought the reasons we were being sent seemed disingenuous at best, but that didn't matter because I swore to obey the lawful orders of those above me. Coming home, there was a time when things were terrible that I really wondered whether war had been a terrible, terrible mistake, and I have come to the conclusion that we won't know for a generation or more. There have been times that I thought, God, we have actually, even if we went in for the wrong reasons, perhaps we have given the Iraqi people the opportunity to forge a better future for themselves, because I was thanked by people in Iraq over and over who wanted to tell me how horribly they had suffered under Saddam Hussein and the Ba'ath regime.
Well, I was so proud of the people I served with, and it really became, at the end of the day, it wasn't about country, it wasn't about foreign policy, and it wasn't even so much about winning any type of war as much as it was about doing what we could do for our particular area of operations and making sure we all got back.